Excel Out with WhatsApp Broadcast mini course, and this is module 3. So in this module, I'm going to take you through how to craft engaging and very attractive and response-worthy broadcast messages, how I've been doing it and how you can do the same, right? So in the first part, which is the first lesson, I'm going to show you how I write compelling and attention grabbing broadcast messages. Like I said in module 2 briefly, you don't just drop the bombshell, like you don't just drop the message no matter how exciting you think it will be for your audience. So there are a couple of things that I do and I think you should incorporate that will make all the difference, trust me. The first thing to do is ensure to use an inclusive personal nomenclature. What do I mean by that? So because it's a broadcast, you're not sending it one after the other, you won't be able to mention their names, right? At least just yet. I'm hoping that that feature will come soon. Make sure that you use a nomenclature that will make them still feel like you got them, right? So if I were talking to my women group, and I know that the people on that group are people who love to hang out, my girls gang group, I can start with, hey sis, how you doing today? Have you had your beauty sleep? You know what I mean? So it feels like, oh my gosh, she's talking to me directly. You know what I mean? So you can recreate it in any way and any form you think fits your product, your service, and what you're selling, right? Another way is to use a very catchy phrase or a thought-provoking question or even a captivating statement in the beginning. And I have a coach who will start with, this is why your channel isn't growing. And you will see it and feel like, oh my God, how did he know? And you open it and it's a broadcast, that has very resourceful information, right? So very important. Also, one thing I also do is to make sure that my first statement is powerful, whatever it is that I decide to use, whether it's a question or a lovey-dovey kind of thing, depending on who I'm talking to. Remember, we've talked about how to segment your audience, so you know exactly how to open up, right? Now, I go ahead to write the message, the main body of the message I need to create. After my hello girl or hi girl or hello dearie, which I send on its own, I send how are you doing next, in a conversational way. The main body of the message I want to send, I will sit down and write it ahead of time, edit it properly, make sure there are no errors, and then save them in my notepad. Then after I've done with the pleasantries, then I begin to send those ones. But also, if it's going to be long, something longer than four lines, you make sure that you break it down into at least three lines or four lines maximum until you send it all, but at the same time. So that way it doesn't come like a bulky, hard to read kind of thing. It still comes in the flow of your conversation that you started with, hi and hello and all of that. Also, ensure that you think your message through. Make sure you think properly, like put yourself in the shoe of the person you're sending it to. Even though you have segmented them, you know what they need, you know that you put them in the right list. Think like, they could be in any situation. They could be in an emergency. They could actually be sleeping. They could actually be in a very tough situation. They could actually be in a party having fun, whatever it is. Think about all of these things when you're sending out your message, so that the first statement you put out will be empathetic, will be something that feels like, oh, she's thinking about me. You know what I mean? Also, when it comes to your message, make sure that you tell them exactly what you want them to do, right? And add a sense of urgency without sounding desperate when you're sending your message. So things like, oh, we just have 2 slots left. I thought maybe you would like to take one and I wouldn't want you to miss it. You know what I mean? That can add it. Mention the benefits of or the solution that you're bringing, what it will help them do. Make it in a very enticing way, conversationally. Don't sound like a robot and all of that. Yeah. Don't use very passive words. Don't say like, oh, we are running to, or if you want to run to this, do this. If you want to sign up, no, say sign up now and let me get you on board. Use action words, use words that will propel people to take action, right? And also, like I said, make sure you drop a call to action that is clear. Let them know exactly what you want them to do after reading that message. Ask them for feedback, right? Ask them for feedback. These are some of the things that I think that if you do this, you will not be thinking of what next to do. Again, The time you send your message is also very important, very, very important, right? So I see that early morning works, between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. works for most people. Another time that works is when they are active on a break, maybe at work, say by 12 noon also works. Then after work from 5 p.m. also works. So you have to try out these three time zones, or three periods, and see which one works best. But you can always use them flexibly, right? But make sure you're not sending three messages in those three different times in the same day, please. Also, very important, make sure you get consent from those people before you start sending them messages about this, except it's like a family group or it's more of a friendly kind of group listing. Then okay, so you know exactly when to catch them. All right, so we're going to look next at the best practices that I have used to add some personal touch to connect with my audience, and I'm going to tell you that in the next lesson. All right, let's go. Welcome back to Module 3, Lesson 2. This is Chisom Otibeaka, and I'm excited to show you some of the things I do that makes people feel like this message is for them, like it is for them. Guys, come along and let me tell you. You know, sometimes I just go ahead and send a smiley, just a smiley. Imagine sending a smiley to over 8,000 people, 3,000 people, because the list will be like up to 15 different lists, and you're just sending. After all, it's not as tasking as trying to send it one after the other, right? I just send a smile that just shows I'm thinking about you, and you're going to see the response will be so high, like, hey girl, you remembered me today, how you doing? Oh my god, I love that smile, you just came at the right time. It's so heartwarming to know, and this is how I nurture the people on my list, right? And you must be somebody who genuinely wants to care for people. Like, if you don't want to care for people, broadcast messaging and all that would not come to you naturally. Just the same way people, not everybody knows how to share what they learn, right? So in the same way, if you want to use broadcast very well, your heart of love must shine through, right? So I'm trying to say these are some of the things I do. I can send a smile, I can send a heart, just a heart, nothing, no words, nothing, just a heart to thousands of people, and they will meet the message at different times in their day, and it will add a spark that's, oh, somebody thinking about me, I'm serious. And then things like, oh, it's been a while, so make sure you know the list you're sending it to, because if you send it to a list of people where you just finished chatting with them, transacting with them, they'll come off like, what's she talking about, what's he talking about, you know what I mean? So all the other things I do is sometimes I share behind the scenes of the things I'm doing, like, oh my god, sometimes share something that you tried and failed. Remember, you will put them in a segment, you know what they want. You're sending them a message in line with their interest and in line with what they're expecting from you. So share your failures and what you've learned from them. You see them sending you messages like, oh, that's good. No, you did well. Don't worry, next time. Create that bond with your client. Don't look at people as numbers. Don't look at those people and the phone numbers as just numbers. Those are people. Those are people with emotions going through stuff. And there's so much stuff going wrong in the world and with everybody. No matter how much we try to slap on a makeup on it, wear a nice shirt and smile, we're all going through stuff. So the best you can do is be human, right? And that comes to the next point. Make your messages conversational. Don't compose one robotic, a salesy kind of post, and then boom, you send it. Who wants to be sold to? Nobody, even though we are buying every day. So don't be the person that will make people ignore your messages. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Also, when you send messages and a lot of people are not responding immediately, have patience. Some of them will see 24 hours later, some 2 hours later, some 2 days later, some even 3 days later, right? So you have to be patient to reap and harvest your goodwill. That's how I say it, right? Send them a message that suits what they're expecting from you. Show empathy. I think I've talked about this already. So make sure that you also respond fast. Like, you don't send a broadcast, which is why I said, if your broadcast lists are a lot, send them one after the other. So you can send one today, by tomorrow is sent to the other broadcast list, like that, with the same messaging, with the same style, the same opening, the same, do you understand? So don't be in a hurry, don't try to send everything to the whole 30 broadcast list, and then people start responding immediately, like in a second later, and you're not there to answer the further questions they have. You're not there to say, okay, this is what to do next. You're not there to say yes or no. It comes up as clearly, even though you may have caught them in the first, but clearly when you don't respond in the next few hours or minutes, they feel like, oh, maybe she's busy, maybe this was actually a broadcast. You don't want to cast yourself. No, you don't. So don't do it. You have to respond fast. Send to a smaller list and take it up there, so that immediately you send the list, immediately you send it, come back to your personal message and start waiting for those who are responding immediately, asking questions, wanting to know more, telling you about what they're going through, and respond to them continuously, so that you can continue the vibe that this is on a personal note and you're here for them. If you don't respond fast, no matter how much you sounded, they will still deduce that it's just one of your gimmicks. You're just trying to get something from them, and nobody likes to feel that way, right? Ask them for feedbacks as well when you send message. Ask questions. Ask them that, oh, would you want me to, do this? Will you be able to click on the link right now? Will you be able to tell me how much you can pay for this? I'm trying to find out how to price this. That kind of thing. Make them feel included. And who doesn't like it? If it sounds good for you, then it's good for your neighbor, it's good for your client, right? And you have to sound friendly. Sound friendly. It doesn't matter what you're going through. I mean, don't be like some of those people who say they are customer service people and they don't have a smile to even share. No, you have to sound friendly, and which is why your chat has to be conversational. You have to be, hi, hey there, hey girl, hey king, something really cool. Good evening. How are you doing? I hope you're fine. It's been a while. Some of those kind of things. It makes people feel like cool. Then when you come to your main message, don't sound robotic. Say, I was just thinking I should ask you whether you would like, to appear in a certain way, because I have this kind of shoes, blah, 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 blah. You know what you want to sell, you know what you want to communicate. So you go ahead and communicate it. And immediately you send all your messages in those batches. Don't send it any long messages. Break them into short conversational styles. Like that's why I say you should save it ahead and then paste them as you go. As you do that, it's easy for you to respond immediately to those who are first responders. Okay? All right. So next, I'm going to share how you can use videos, audios, and all of that good stuff to get even more maximum engagement. Let's go. Welcome back. This is Chisomo Tibeaka, and this is the third lesson in this module 3. Okay, so you know how we have been talking about this ability to make people feel engaged with your message, respond, and all of that. It comes back to just being human, as you can see. So in this part, we're talking about how you can use videos, you can use pictures, you can use audio to further even connect to your people. I remember at the beginning of the course when I conceptualized it and I decided that, okay, I was going to do it after the promptings I had. The first time I tried to research to know whether people really, think that broadcast messages are important, whether people use them, I used an audio message, and you won't even believe me when I say so. The phone I was using at the time, I tried to record on WhatsApp, and it was so low, the volume was so low, the phone was probably having issues, and I went ahead to use my audio recorder that comes with the phone to record it. You know how when you record it, it will come off like it's a music, and a lot of people told me that they thought it was music actually, but because of the way I sounded, I still got a lot of responses that helped to shape this course, right? That's how far I can go when I want to do something, and I've mastered that. First of all, be human enough, be kind, be friendly, and people will warm up to you, right? So trying to incorporate media, you have to know how to use it. You want to add an audio to your text, or you want to add a video to your text, because the text must be there. People must know what is contained in the audio. Please don't be one of those people who just send an audio message without any message with it, without any text message with it. Please. It helps people to know, okay, this is something. Even if you have to say, please help me listen to this. Good afternoon. Please, could you listen to this and respond? Make it very, very, very conversational and engaging. So one of the things that I do is I use audio when I even want to take the personalization to the next level. Audio messaging, that is voice notes, and you send it as broadcast. It makes, oh my gosh, it makes the person just feel like, oh, I know how people have said, oh my God, your voice just removed all the stress I've had all day. And it's not because I'm making any effort to sound sassy or anything like that. No, I'm genuinely just excited and genuinely excited about connecting with them and asking them a question on my mind or telling them what I want to tell them. Right? So when you want to use audio when you want to reach out and be more personal. You want to add a more personal touch. You want to convey a heartfelt message like a condolence, or you want to greet people on their birthday, or you want to anything that conveys deep emotions. That's when to use audio. Please don't use audio to tell people, oh, come and buy this and this. No, please, 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 please. Okay. Also, when you want to use videos, make sure that you use them when you need to tell, when you need to teach, when you want to do a tutorial or show people how to use something, right? Is very useful when you want to showcase how to do stuff step by step and how to go about doing something. Is the best time to use videos. Of course, when you also want to show people what you're telling them, you want to show them the picture, how it looks. Pictures also come very handy, and I know that with this you know exactly what to do, right? Text is always the conveying factor. Always use text to convey what is in the audio or the video. Okay, just make it short and straight to the point, and also make sure that you tell them exactly what you want them to do at the end of the video so that they can get back to you with their feedback or with how they feel. All right, so let's go to the next lesson 4. We'll be talking about when to use broadcast and when not to use broadcast. This is so important. All right, come along with me. Welcome back. This is lesson 4 of module 3, and this is still Chisom Utibeaka. Thank you and welcome back. In this particular lesson, I figured that we should talk about how to use broadcast, right? Like when the situations are right to use broadcast and not use other channels, and also when not to use broadcast. So let's talk about it. For instance, it's a no-brainer to think that broadcast messages can go for everything. It's not possible now. It's not. So if you want to, for instance, check on people who you already have in the same group, like you said, in the same list, then yes, to check on them, just to ask how they are doing, and you know you're ready to respond to them one after the other as they get back to you, is a good time, right? Also, you know that sending a message can also, it depends on the time, the people, and what they prefer, right? So generally though, the best times to use broadcast is when there's something very important, like there's a very important announcement. Let's say you know that if you don't give this announcement today, they might come and find you so they can know the new address. When there's an important announcement, when you just launch something new, like the way I'm doing this training, I had to send to everyone. And it's not all the time that I service my broadcast list at all. Sometimes I go 2 months and I haven't sent messages to my broadcast list. I just keep communicating with those who I have everyday dealings with, right? So when there's something very important, there's a new product, there's a new feature, there's a change in address, there's something that you're launching, you need them to support, you don't want them to miss out on, then it's a good time to send them the message. Also make sure that you're sending the message with the heart of, I don't want you to miss out on this, and that's what I'm telling you, because it will reflect in your communication and your conversation, right? Also, when something is time sensitive, like if you don't send it now, something is going to hurt these people, or they're going to miss out big time, or they're going to, just miss out a big opportunity. Maybe it's even a time frame, something is about to pass by, you want to remind them something really time sensitive, then is a good time to use broadcast. Another time that is good to use a broadcast, right, is when you want to promote something. So you want to quickly get as many people who are interested in that thing and collect them so that you can follow up on them later. So usually you have to create a broader list, depending on what it is that you want to promote, so that you can quickly generate people's interest, get your sales boosted, sell some, begin to drive traffic to that business immediately. So that's also a good time to use broadcast. Now, another time is when you want to invite people for your event. Either you're having something that people in your list are supposed to be there. It could be a webinar, a workshop, your wedding, something that demands their being there, and you want them to quickly let you know whether they'll be in or out, or they'll be able to attend. This is a good time to also send that. Also, another time that is good to use broadcast is when people who you have segmented into maybe the same birthdays, things like that. So you want to send them personalized birthday messages and you have put them in the category according to their birthdays, there is a good time to use it. So there are other times too I have found that you should never bother. You shouldn't bother using broadcast, right? Don't bother using broadcast. Now, one of them is when somebody has clearly told you that their personal circumstances that is negative. Say somebody has said, "Oh, I lost my mom, I lost somebody, or I'm not feeling fine, I've been hospitalized for a long time." Why are you sending the person promotional messages? You know what I mean? So what I do when people tell me those kind of things, "Oh, I just lost my husband," oh my God, I immediately remove them from my broadcast list. It doesn't even matter where they are, so that I don't mistakenly send them a message insensitively. You get? So when people have told you, "Oh, I'm going through this rough patch in my life," and all of that, please remove them from promotional or those kind of messages that always have to do with business, right? You can always add them back later, months and years later, right? So that you can follow up with them personally, with your relationship personally. Don't use broadcast to nurture them, especially when it comes to sickness and death. Okay, I found that to be very, 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 it has helped me, it has helped my emotions. I know how when I hear somebody is even dead, I go ahead and delete their phone number entirely, right? I don't want that number to pop up any day, and even if it's their relative, and I begin to grieve all over again. So that's very key. Another time not to use broadcast is when information you want to pass across is personal, right? Is sensitive, is confidential, somebody's about somebody. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't use a broadcast to send that to a lot of people, right? Also, when not to use broadcast is when the last message you sent or the announcement you made was just a day ago. Please don't do that. Don't send too many frequent messages. It will turn people off. I've told you the minimum has to be 1 week, except you have sent a message and you are now talking with the person, some of the people's one-on-one, on answering their question to be able to onboard them on that product. Don't send another general message even though they are targeted for a particular people, right? Give at least a week after. You can send a reminder, a week after. Don't do that. Yeah. So also when not to use broadcast is when somebody has clearly told you, "No, I don't want to receive messages from you at all." If it's not just us talking, please don't go ahead and say, "Oh, whatever, if he or she likes, you can block me." It can be very detrimental for your account. Okay, so also when not to use messages, don't send people messages that they don't need. Don't do that. These are some of the things I think we should talk about and highlight. These are things that you must not do, and also initially we talked about the things and times you should use them. So this is one way you can go ahead and do what you need to do and get the result that you set out to achieve, whether it's for your organization or for your personal life. Remember, people are what their net worth. Your network, people in your network, people you know, people you interact, are really how much you are worth. So nurturing people, being there for them. I sincerely do pity people who say, "Oh, I don't want to get messages from you," and they never send you a message, they never call you all year round, but your contact to check up on them, they first of all quiz you whether it is a broadcast message. Those people clearly don't want your message, so you shouldn't put them in a list, right? So, but anyway, that's what it is. And let's talk about the next things in the next module. All right, come along with me.